If you are watching this video for the first time, make sure you are subscribing to Anantha Lakshmi Academy. Once you click on the subscribe button, you will see a bell icon. If you click on that bell and click on all, you will get to know whenever I upload a video. This will send you a notification. Hello everybody, welcome back to Anantha Lakshmi Academy. Today we are going to discuss the continuation of trigonometry, chapter number 12, applications of trigonometry. If you have gone through the trigonometry introduction part, I have given few of the examples like considering the applications of trigonometry, slider in the ladder, and a man painting a wall and all. So that is a very simple example of trigonometry. So here in the larger perspectives, like exactly in the engineering, especially for civil engineers, where exactly this trigonometry is coming into picture, how are they going to use and how are they able to determine the heights and distances using trigonometry. That is all we are going to learn today. Okay, so let me begin with an example. We are all familiar with the Mount Everest, right? We have sometime or somewhere you must have heard about the Mount Everest. We think that, or we must have known the height of the Everest to be like 8,848 meters. Have you ever thought of considering or measuring the height of Mount Everest? Look at this, 8,848 meters. How can somebody go? Can he go with a rope and measure this? Or if he even goes up with a rope, how can he measure the length of the rope? Did we ever thought of that? Consider one more example. Kuntala waterfall, the famous Kuntala waterfall in Adilabad district. Whenever we discuss about waterfalls, especially when it comes in news or something, they will be mentioning about the height of the waterfall. As it drops from the height, what is the height of it? They will be mentioning it is somewhere around 150 meters. Have you ever thought how can that be measured? That and all can be measured using trigonometry. Let's see how and why. So let me consider a simple example of a girl. Here let me name her as Vijaya. So Vijaya, okay, I'm a very bad artist, so consider this alien as Vijaya. All right, okay. Vijaya is trying to look at a very tall palm tree. Okay, assume this as palm tree. Alright, now she looks at the tall palm tree and she was wondering whether how tall it can be or how much is the length of this palm tree. So let me help Vijaya to understand the length of this or to figure out the length of this. So let me assume this is the point where Vijaya's eye is. So from here she thinks this is the top of the palm tree and she assumes a line joining these 2 points. And let me draw a straight horizontal line from her eye, naked eye, to the palm tree. Alright? And look at this. Here, Vijaya and the palm tree are on the same ground. And from here, from her eye, I have drawn a line to the top of the tree. And I also drawn a line from her naked eye to the bottom of the tree. A straight line, a straight horizontal line. Alright? If you look at this, if I join all 3 dots, this particular line on the palm tree, this horizontal line from her naked eye, and this line from her eye to the maximum point of the country forms what kind of a triangle? Right angle triangle. Whenever I say right angle triangle, here comes our master, trigonometry. So from here, let me name this angle as theta, our favorite angle. Okay, this forms a right angle triangle. Let me tell you the terminology that is going to be used in this chapter. Whatever the line I have drawn from her eye to the topmost part of the tree, this line is called line of sight. What is this? Line of sight. What is she trying to do? She is trying to look at the tree from through this line. So this is called line of sight. And I said there is an angle made between the horizontal line and the line of sight. Whenever the object or the person who is looking is down and the object is taller, and so that it forms a right angle triangle upside. When this forms like this is called angle of the theta. It's called angle of elevation. Whenever we look at an object or a building or a tree, anything which is taller than us, making an angle, then that is called angle of elevation. If you are looking at something which is shorter than you, I'll tell you in the later part. So this is line of sight and this is angle of elevation. What is line of sight? The line drawn between the object which is seen and the object which is being measured is known as line of sight, and the angle made between line of sight and the horizontal line is known as angle of elevation. Always the angle of elevation is considered to be the angle with a horizontal line, not the ground or something. It is the line angle which is made with horizontal line. Alright, if I ask you to figure out the height of the tree, what do you say? Is this the only height of the tree? No, we have one more height, which is Vijaya's height. Alright, I said there I drew a line from her naked eye. What about the height of her body? That is also included in this tree, right? When I ask you for the height of the tree, it is both Vijaya's height plus rest of the height of the tree. Alright, now we have learned line of sight, angle of elevation. Alright, let me give you one more example to understand angle of depression. Let me consider the same girl, Vijaya. She is on a building. For my comfort, I am assuming all of them are straight lines. Alright, she is here on the top of a building and there is a borewell here. Alright, this is a borewell. If you just press on this, water comes out from this. Old borewells, you might not be seen, but old borewells used to be like that. Okay, now what is this girl doing? What is Vijaya doing? She is trying to look at the borewell. Alright, so this, what is the height of this borewell? Let me think that this is the maximum height of the borewell. Now she looks at it. How does she look at it? What is this? What is this line? Again, this is the same line which is used for sight. Which is nothing but line of sight. And we need to have a horizontal line, right? Here. What kind of triangle is this? Right angle triangle. But she is looking from here, not from here. If she is looking from here, we had angle of elevation. But when she is looking from here, horizontal line should be drawn like this. Alright, now where is the angle made between the horizontal line and line of sight? This is here, theta. Are you getting it? Listen to me carefully. Now when somebody is looking from a height taller than the object, alright, when they are looking from upside to down, the angle made with the horizontal line is known as angle of depression. What is this? Theta, angle of depression. Alright, now this angle, if you see this angle is outside of our right angle triangle. How do we measure anything? Unless we have a theta or an angle within the right angle triangle, only then we can use the trigonometric ratios and figure out the heights or distances. So what do we do for this? So if you consider this form and this forms a Z. Gives Z. Okay. if you look at this corner and this corner, this is going to form a Z. Any angles in the corners of Z are equal. They are known as alternate angles. This we will get to know in detail in the geometry part. When we are discussing about that chapter, I will be explaining in detail. For now, understand that any angles which are at the corners of Z are alternate angles and they are equal. If this is theta, then this is also going to be theta. Alright. So once you have an angle, theta, angle of depression, and a right angle, we have a right angle triangle, and hence we could use the trigonometric ratios and figure out the heights, right? That's what. So we have learned line of sight, angle of elevation, angle of depression. What is line of sight? The line through which the object or a person this uses to look at the taller objects or the shorter objects. Whatever is the line drawn to look at the objects, that is known as line of sight. What is the angle of elevation? Angle of elevation is nothing but whenever a person or an object looks from a smaller height to a very tall object, then the angle made is angle of elevation. What is angle of depression? Angle of depression is nothing but the angle made with the horizontal line when a person or an object looks from a height to a shorter object, which is down comparatively compared to this. From a taller object, when you are looking at a shorter object, then that is angle of depression. Alright. So these are the terminologies that are going to come for us even in the examples and exercise problems as well. So even before getting on to the exercise, there are 3 important points to be remembered even before we start on the problems. Alright, let me tell you what are those important points. If you are looking at this video with a pen and paper, please try to make a note of it. First thing, within trigonometry, applications of trigonometry chapter, whatever we are going to determine the height of a building or a pole or a waterfall or a mountain, everything. You think that I am going to measure a tree, so I will draw a tree. No, it is not going to work out like that. If you are going to measure a mountain, I will draw the shape of a mountain and try to figure out. This is not going to work out. For the simplicity's sake, whatever the object that we are going to measure, we are going to assume that every object that we are going to measure is linear. What is linear? In the form of straight line. If you look at this example, for the palm tree, what did I consider? A straight line. For the building, what did I consider? A straight line. That's what. For the electric poles, for waterfalls, for mountains, whatever we are measuring in this chapter, we are going to consider that the objects measured are linear. If you are having a pen and paper, please do make a note of it. Then, second important point, I told you about angle of elevation and angle of depression. But when I drew the angle of elevation, I draw it with respect to a horizontal. When I am drawing the angle of depression, I drew it with horizontal line. So angle of elevation and depression are some angles which are drawn with the horizontal line. Okay, the angle of elevation and depression are always associated with what? Horizontal line. And the third important fact is we are going to neglect the height of a person or an object which is viewing at the taller object or a shorter object unless it is specified. Say for suppose in a problem it is given that person X is observing a building of height 50 meters. Person X is given, but person X's height is not mentioned. So we are going to neglect his height. But in the same problem, if they say that person X of height 2 meters is looking at a tree of height 50 meters, then this has come into picture. We need to make sure we are drawing the height of the person also when it is mentioned in the problem. So height of the object, or person from which we are viewing is neglected until specified. Sorry, unless specified. If they clearly mention that this is what the height of the object or the person, only then we are going to consider that height. If not, we are going to neglect that. Alright. So we have gone, what is the introduction that we had? We have seen line of sight, the line which is drawn from the object to the height of the maximum height of the tree or the other object. We have seen the angle of elevation with respect to the horizontal line, angle of depression with respect to the horizontal line, and we have understood the alternate angle concept, which are in the form of shape Z, either in this form or in this form. Okay, these corners. Alright, and we had an important note, 3 important points. Understanding need to be understood even before we jump onto the problems. First thing is, objects that we are going to view are assumed to be linear. Next thing is, angle of elevation and depression are considered always with the horizontal line. And the last point is, height of the object or the person is neglected until or unless it is mentioned. Alright, that's about the introduction. Let's now it's time for you guys to jump into the examples and try understanding what is angle of elevation, what is angle of depression, how is the diagram drawn. If you have already gone through the examples, let's jump into the exercise part. So if you feel that the content is worth enough, please do like, share and subscribe to Anantha Lakshmi Academy. Thank you.